Robert Niles was a one-time math geek, and he was also a Disney worker when he was young. He was a Jungle Cruise skipper at one point. Robert Niles, he was in the news business. Now he's in the news of teaching you about theme parks. One of the, if not the biggest theme park website online, Theme Park Insider, he runs and manages, and he has won tons of awards for Theme Park Insider. But every year, we invite him down to the basement to help you plan a better trip to the theme park. Hopefully less expensive, or at the very least, you get your money's worth. And, you know, just like in the northern climates, when you see the first robins, you see the Canadian geese flying overhead, or it's Memorial Day week in America, you know, Robert Niles is back on the Stacky Benjamin Show. How are you, brother?
I am doing very well. Nice to see you.
It's great to see you. I can't believe it's been a year, by the way. Every year. It's so wild.
Goes quick.
Let's do the thing. Last year, I think I led with, I think we're back. You said, I think we are. We are clearly back now. Everybody seems open for business. I'm just going to put this by you. The United States is a heat map, right? Mm-hmm. Where's the heat at for theme parks right now on the heat map?
Well, I think it's back to normal. The big heat map is Southern California and Central Florida, with little dots throughout the Midwest as well. Everyone is operating on full cylinders at this point. There's one exception to this, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But Disney is celebrating its 100th anniversary corporate-wide this year. So they've got lots of stuff happening at Disneyland, brand new roller coaster at Walt Disney World in Florida. Universal isn't going to let that take that line down, so they're matching with a lot of new stuff. The big one, the one we've been waiting for, Super Nintendo World, is now open at Universal Studios Hollywood with plans to bring it to Florida in a couple of years. And Florida is doing a new attraction this year, too, with another Despicable Me themed attraction that they're putting into their park in Orlando there. So lots of fun stuff happening with Disney and Universal. SeaWorld's got new roller coasters coming up across the country. Hershey Park's about to do a big new coaster that's a throwback to one of their originals. Lots of fun stuff to do for people who want to get out on a fun summer vacation this year.
How do we, I ask you this question every year, but obviously we have new stackers every year, Robert. Mm-hmm. Saving money at theme parks, incredibly difficult. But if I'm going to try to save a few dollars, what are some of your best tips?
Well, okay, this is why I'm just going to promote myself for a little bit, themeparkinsider.com. We do have a link up at the top of the page to buy tickets. We have partnered with some resellers, authorized resellers around the world, and we've got discount tickets to like Universal Orlando, Disneyland, a lot of top theme parks around the country. So there is that there. Also, I would recommend find the parks you want to go to and follow them on social media, because they will announce on their social media when they've got sales going on. A lot of them are selling discount passes here at the beginning of the season. These are going to be the lowest prices of the year that you can get on annual passes. Now, you might be thinking, I'm only going to go once or twice. I might not need an annual pass. Hey, I'm telling you, the benefits that you can get on some of these passes pay for themselves if you go ahead and you buy that rather than a single-day ticket. Sometimes you can get free parking. You can get discounts inside of the park on food, on merchandise, sometimes on hotel stays with affiliated hotels. So always look at an annual or seasonal pass option before you go buying a single day or worse, several single-day tickets to a theme park. So you can get a lot of deals that are available out there that way.
It's funny, Robert, because the one thing that you've drilled into my head over the last several years is really that, you know, in a lot of areas of your life, doing a little bit of research goes a long way, but it's exponential for the theme park game. Yeah. Just exponential. I mean, after I started talking to you, my trips to regional theme parks and to Disney have been so much better just because I go on Theme Park Insider. I'd listen to some podcasts. I do some of these tips that you gave us, like following people on social media. And all of a sudden I know how to make how to organize your day better can turn a bad day into a good day.
Parks have gotten, as you were saying, they've gotten exponentially more complicated as they've added more pricing options. that gives you a great deal of power. You've got a lot of flexibility that you didn't have before when it was just one price, one size fits all. The price can vary by the day of the week that you go to some theme parks. That can be a bad thing, but that could be something that works to your advantage if you've got some flexibility. So as they've added all of these upcharges, all of these variable pricing, it really does pay to do the research to make sure that you're getting the best deal for you and your family, the one that works out where you're not just paying the less. Maybe you're paying a little bit more, but you're getting a lot more for your money by making sure that you do the research and you come in as an informed consumer.
Let's take a trip around the nation. Let's start off with the East Coast, because I saw a TikTok video yesterday, Robert, where it's from a Six Flags that is just east of Philadelphia. And I'm missing the name, but you'll probably know the name. The
Great America? No, I'm sorry. Great Adventure. Sorry.
Great Adventure. Yep.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
And there was a roller coaster that made me want to throw up. It just is this thing due? Is this a or am I just because I don't live on the East Coast?
They're supposed to be bringing back their El Toro roller coaster, which we had as our top ranked roller coaster in the world there for a little while. It's had some problems recently, but they've been working on fixing that, and that's supposed to come back this summer. So that's the big thing at Great Adventure. I'll tell you a coaster that could make you a little bit queasy, and we just put up a video on our YouTube channel of this, is actually coming to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, a huge favorite with roller coaster fans. They've got a new Wild Mass roller coaster. This is a spinning coaster from a manufacturer called Zamperla, and the video you see, it's early season. It's just one guy riding alone, but when they say this one spins, they're not kidding. It spins a lot. So this is one that if you're into that type of thing, this is going to be great. You got to get to Cedar Point. You got to ride this summer. If you're not into that type of experience, well, Cedar Point's got a lot of other great experiences that are available to you there as well.
Well, while we're on Cedar Point, they had problems with one of their rides, Top Thrill Dragster, where this ride would just go, for people that don't know, it would just launch you very quickly up this massive hill. You'd pause, you'd slow way down at the top, and then you'd run back down. And they had a huge problem with the ride. But it looks like, my son was telling me yesterday, because he knew you and I were talking. So this comes from my son, Nick. He's like, what's going on with this? Because it looks like they're changing the track around. It looks like there's some movement happening at Cedar Point. What's going on there?
They haven't announced officially all the specs that's going to be. That ride is going to be closed for this season. It's not going to be there. And what they're doing is that they're putting in a new launch mechanism, because that's really where the problems they were having with it. I mean, you think about it, you're talking about this is a machinery here. I mean, you think about these as rides, you think about magic, you think about all this. Now, this is all machinery. And this is machinery that had to take a train full of people. That's heavy. And launch that thing up over 100 miles an hour in basically no time at all. You think about the force that's going to require to do that. And for those of us who took physics or maybe some engineering, you put force on that type of mass over time, things are going to wear. That's a lot of maintenance work you got to do. That's a lot of energy expense to do all of that. Since that ride opened, I think the industry has gotten a lot more efficient at designing launch mechanisms that don't put that type of pressure, don't put that type of wear on a train. So they're going to go with a new type of launch system, and they're also going to mess around with the track a little bit, because they want to get some records back. When that launched, it was the fastest, tallest roller coaster in the world. Those records have been claimed by other rides, and I think Cedar Point might want those back. So we will see when they make an announcement later this season on specifically what we've got. We're expecting that coaster to be back in some form next summer.
Let's shift our attention over to the West Coast, where places, I'm thinking like Magic Mountain, which has a ton of, you talk Cedar Point, would think, who else has lots of roller coasters? Oh, Magic Mountain. Anything new, exciting on the West Coast?
I tell you what, the number one thing new and exciting on the West Coast for me has been Super Nintendo World. That opened back up in beginning part of the year at Universal Studios Hollywood. I know, you think about Super Mario. That is the number one franchise in the world right now. Number one IP. It's the number one movie of the year. It's the number one new theme park attraction in America at this point. You get to go on a real life Mario Kart ride. It's a dark ride where you get to, you're drifting around. You're controlling, throwing shells and racking up points and all of that. Lots of just practical fun stuff to do with the game where you're just punching real life question blocks throughout the land itself. So that has been wildly popular for people at Universal Studios Hollywood. And it's going to be coming to the new Epic Universe theme park at Universal Orlando in 2025 as well. Disneyland has opened its version of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in an expanded Toontown, so they're not taking the competition from Universal lying down. You can go play at Super Nintendo World. You can go play in Disneyland's new Toontown. A couple of options for people out in Southern California. And then SeaWorld San Diego is bringing out a new kind of snowmobile-themed roller coaster called Arctic Rescue that we're expecting to open a little bit later on this summer, too. Knott's Berry Farm has redone their Fiesta Village, that they're going to be bringing out a new version of their old Montezuma's looping coaster. We're expecting that sometime
that's
this
a
summer.
Classic.
So lots of stuff happening on the West Coast right now. I said the one thing where the one chain that is still kind of not up to full speed, I would say at this point, has been Six Flags. Their financials have been pretty disappointing recently, and as a result, we're not seeing really aggressive announcements about new attractions coming to a lot of Six Flags parks that we are seeing from Cedar Fair and from SeaWorld parks and from Disney and Universal. But Magic Mountain's still got an incredibly impressive coaster lineup. They added a really fun single rail coaster to that, themed to Wonder Woman last year. So for a lot of people who haven't seen that, they will more than fill your day if you head up to Valencia, north of Los Angeles, for Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Two questions about Southern California. First one is on Knott's Berry Farm. Mm-hmm. I've been to Knott's Berry Farm twice, but it has been a good 20, 25 years. But that was a wonderful overshadowed park that I feel like a lot of people forget about. Is that still a wonderful overshadowed park? Oh, I think it's a favorite of a lot of locals, especially in Orange County around here, particularly as Disneyland has had such amazing success that they've kind of become a victim of their own success in some ways. The annual passes are not cheap, not always available. So for a lot of families who maybe feel like Disneyland's a stretch, Knott's Berry Farm is an amazing, affordable alternative for them that just delivers the same type. Disney's designers, they're called Imagineers. You can find them all the time at Knott's Berry Farm cribbing ideas from that place. I mean, they freely admit that they take inspiration from the stuff that's been happening at Knott's Berry Farm over the years. So they do wonderful food festivals there. They just wrapped up their annual Boysenberry Festival. They're going to have their summer nights coming back up with Ghost Town Alive, which is this wonderful kind of interactive thing where you can go into their Ghost Town section and pretend like you're an old-timey pioneer and interact with all of the actors that they've got there. Just a really, truly unique experience that they have there. And they've got some great rides for the thrill fan in your family as well. You and I have spent a lot of time talking about our mutual love affair of Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, for their theming. But man, I think on the West Coast, Knott's Berry Farm, I mean, just a boysenberry festival, like not a blackberry. I mean, it's a boysenberry festival. That's their berry. That's the berry that made Knott's Berry Farm. That's one of those hidden gem parks that if people you get a little you start to sweat when you look at the top line non-discounted cost of going to a Disney World or a Universal Orlando. Now, you can certainly get discounts down on those. Those can be affordable if you work it. But if you're looking something where you don't have to do a whole lot of research, you can just roll up and have a great time. Knott's Berry Farm, that's a great park. Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and we should talk about their new coaster in a moment, too. Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Love that park. Great hospitality there. And my favorite hidden gem in this country, Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You got to drive about an hour west of Louisville to get to it. But you will be rewarded by meeting up with some of the greatest coaster fans in the country that you'll find there at Holiday World. I've had so many stackers contact me, Robert, and say that because of your appearance here and then Theme Park Insider, that they discovered Holiday World. Like it's a great family-owned park that doesn't nickel and dime you. It's free soft drinks, free sunscreen, free parking. I mean, you come in, you're like, "Where's the booth? Where's the toll booth? You're just parking me? What?" It's just that way. I mean, you're getting value for your money, and because they don't have the big corporate overhead, and just a good fun time there. I love the wing coaster that they put in there a few years ago. Just absolutely wonderful experience. Before we get
Busch Gardens Williamsburg, I don't want to go away without mentioning that.
Yeah, let's do
Dark
that.
Coaster. If you are a fan of that park, you've been there. You remember the old Curse of Dark Castle dark ride that was in there that they took away.
Yeah,
and you wanted it to come back. It's coming back in roller coaster form this summer. It's called Dark Coaster. It is an indoor kind of snowmobile type coaster. It looks like it's just going to be great fun and opening up in the middle of May in Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
Big news. Let's go to the south. Big news in Texas with Universal announcing some big stuff coming to the Dallas area.
Well, it's big news for a small thing, kind of. Right. They are getting into kind of the regional family, maybe even kiddie park business, you might say. Going after what has been Legoland's bread and butter for a long time. They have announced a new theme park that they're going to be opening, I believe, in the Dallas area. Haven't given us much detail beyond that besides some concept art, which we had up on themeparkinsider.com. That sure looks like it's going to be a lot of DreamWorks franchises in there. And this is aimed at families with small children. It's not a big, huge Universal Studios type theme park. It's going to be something much smaller, more intimate, designed for toddlers and their parents to get around. And this is not something that we've seen from Disney or Universal in the past getting into this marketplace, but Universal is showing that they're willing to be aggressive and go after new markets in the United States in a way that Disney hasn't been willing to do since the whole Disney Quest thing that happened in the 1990s. So that didn't end up working out for Disney, but I think Universal thinks that, and they're also putting in a new kind of haunted Horror Nights themed attraction in Area 15 at Las Vegas at that expansion. So they are getting into regional out-of-home entertainment in a way that's, I think, really exciting to see how that's going to pan out for NBC Universal.
For people here in my area, northern Texas, the Mid-South, Robert, it's, we have Six Flags. I'm not a huge fan of the Six Flags in Arlington. I've been there a couple times and just I don't love it. But I noticed in Hot Springs when I was there last time, there's this little theme park there that I never knew existed. Are there any gems around the Mid-South, if you're living where I do, that we should be looking into?
I think the one in the middle of the country that gets a lot of people, this is a little bit north of you, but if you head up to Branson, Missouri, Silver Dollar City, that's the sister park of Dollywood. And they've got some great attractions. I think they probably might even be better than Dollywood on thrill rides or variety of thrill rides. That's a fight that a lot of theme park fans will get into, but that's a great attraction that a lot of people really appreciate up there. But I think the thing that Texas is more known for than theme parks really has been with water parks. Just the success that the Schlitterbahn parks now, some of them are owned by Cedar Fair, which is the Cedar Point's parent company now.
And Knott's Berry Farm as well, right?
And Knott's has had some success with water parks.
Oh no, I was saying same. Well. I'm sorry, I was saying same parent company. I think Knott's Berry Farm's owned by Cedar Fair as well.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Cedar Fair, right. That's been a great market for that. I mean, I'm in Southern California. This is not really a big water park market here. Just because of the nature of the difference of the weather between Southern California and Texas. But
we get a little heat
we're
here.
All about wetsuits here. We have cold water at our beaches. It's just lots of fun stuff to do. But like I said, I'm really excited to see what Universal brings to the table. And if that opens up the Texas market for some of the bigger theme park operators to come in and take a second look at and say, hey, maybe we don't need to just leave this to Six Flags and we can come in and do some interesting things here too.
It is the rumor mill I've seen just lately after that announcement. All right, let's go to Fun in the Sun. We got to go to Florida.
Absolutely.
Disney, let's talk about that new roller coaster you mentioned that Disney has. Tell me about this.
Tron Light Cycle Run at the Magic Kingdom. This is kind of a duplicate of the coaster that they debuted at Shanghai Disneyland back in 2016. That was the absolute runaway hit of that park. If you are of my generation and a fan of the original Tron movie, the first time you saw that, you're like, I want to ride a light cycle. Now you can do it. go to Walt Disney World at the Magic Kingdom, and you can ride a light cycle on Tron Light Cycle Run. It is, that you're hunched over. It's like a motorcycle style roller coaster, riding in pairs of two. And it is an absolutely phenomenal launch out of that building, up under that lit canopy, and then into the grid itself. A lot of great lighting effects that they've put into the interior portion of that ride. Absolute wonderful thrill. If you're on themeparkinsider.com and you just search for Tron Light Cycle Run, you can see the on-ride video of me on that one, and I'm just having the time of my life. I absolutely love that coaster. And it's right next to Space Mountain as well, so if you're a coaster fan heading to Disney World, you can get that 1-2 punch.
Speaking of that, last year you recommended that I ride the new ride at Epcot, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and oh my, Robert, that was fantastic.
I absolutely love what they did with that attraction, because to call it a roller coaster, I think, is selling it a little bit short. I mean, it's Disney. Yeah. They've taken it to a different level. This is really, it's a Guardians of the Galaxy adventure, and you are right in the middle of it. And it's got all of that humor, all of that wonder, and the pop songs. They play a different pop song.
I was singing all the way through it.
6 different pop songs, so you can go on it again and again and keep getting different songs on it as well. So it is just, you come off of that feeling, wow, you are a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And there is I won't spoil it, but there is a very long kind of pre-show that leads up to this. Like, you're going through this almost World's Fair type exhibit about the planet of Xandar. And there are several pre-show moments, including one that will absolutely take your breath away. You just have to see it to believe it. So that's a wonderful attraction. I'm glad you liked it, and I hope a lot of your fans give it a try as well.
Oh, they totally should. By the way, you're also a person who said, listen, if you don't go to the restaurants at some of these various places, you're missing out. Disney has really more of a reputation than any place else for restaurants. But I wonder this year, I've never asked you this question. I'm thinking, as a former Jungle Cruise skipper, that Skipper Canteen would be your favorite. But what's your favorite restaurant on property?
I was just at Skipper Canteen about a month ago with.
Were you really?
Last time I was down at Disney World, and I still love it. Absolutely. Wonderful food. I think that's the best restaurant in the Magic Kingdom, easily, and one of my favorites at the Walt Disney World Resort. I tell you, the one that's really kind of making all the headlines in the theme park world this year is Toadstool Cafe at Super Nintendo World in Hollywood.
Oh,
this is the you've got Chef Toad from Mario is the cook there. They've got all these wonderful kind of animated screens throughout the restaurant, so you can see Toad and everyone else back in the kitchen making up your lunch and stuff like that. But that is a tough get right now. You need to get there first thing in the morning. Get down there, make a reservation online. They've got a QR code that you can scan when you're in the park, and those reservations for the entire day go within the first really few minutes of the park opening. But a lot of really fun, a lot of whimsical kind of nods to Mario and Luigi and the whole crew there, and great food too. Absolutely love that experience. Disney's
reported, well, not reported, but there's all kinds of signs that attendance is down at the Disney parks. You rolled your eyes when I said that. Is that true? Not true?
It's because that's the way they've managed it. When the pandemic happened and the lockdowns started to lift and everybody was under capacity restrictions, you had to make reservations to get into pretty much any theme park anywhere. Almost everyone has gotten rid of that at this point, except Disney. Disney has maintained the need to make advance reservations in order to get into the theme parks because they're using it as capacity control. They decided that the parks had just gotten too crowded before the pandemic shut everything down. They didn't want to go back to that experience. Yes, obviously, they're adding new attractions like Tron Light Cycle Run and trying to expand their capacity, but at the same time, they don't want it overrun, so they are limiting the capacity in their parks. So even though the attendance is down from where it was in 2019, it's still at what their new capacity is. And there are a lot of dates that you might want to get into that you're not going to be able to get into because they're essentially sold out for the day. So another big advice to people when we were talking earlier about advanced planning, at Disney, it's absolutely essential, because if you don't advance plan, if you just walk up, you're going to see a big sign saying no reservations available for today, and you're not going to be able to get into the park. So you need to make those reservations when you can, which is usually about 2 to 3 months in advance.
Well, I'm glad we talked about that, because if somebody reads some of these half headlines, they might think they can just walk up and go.
Attendance down. It's going to be real easy. I just roll up and walk right in. It's like, nope. It's all because they've put in really strict capacity controls this time. Now, meanwhile, their friends down the street at Universal, they don't have the capacity restrictions, and they are doing big attendance. Those parks are packed, let me tell you. In fact, actually, this is something that if you want to see a company doing a good business move, Universal, they started selling early admission to Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Hollywood. So you can get in 1 hour before the park opens to everybody else. Usually priced around like $20, $30. It can vary sometimes. I don't have the specific number right in front of me. Usually when people start offering these upgrades, when companies do that, fans push back. There's been zero pushback on this one. Everyone loves that deal. They're also throwing in a front of the line pass into the studio tour before 10 a.m. So after you do your hour in Super Nintendo World, where you can get in, you can make that Toadstool Cafe reservation and be sure to get it. You can get on Mario Kart with minimal wait. You can do all of the little games inside of the land with no wait. Then you can go front of the line and do their famous studio tour and have that all wrapped up before like 11 in the morning. People are going, that's a great example of an upcharge that we will accept and people are going for.
Boy, and that brings up, by the way, a great piece of advice you gave me a few years ago, which is where on a different vacation, you might, sleep in, roll out of bed. Instead, use theme park days to take a break in the middle of the day. Like I'm
absolutely
99% sure you're the one that told me that.
Yeah, particularly in Central Florida, where it gets so hot and humid in the middle of the day if you're visiting there in the summer.
But get there immediately when it opens to get stuff.
I'll tell you what, Florida, the best moments of the day are very first thing, crack of dawn, and then right as the park is closing at midnight. That's when the weather's nice during the summer. Right. So you want to be out there enjoying those moments, because most people don't do that. They're there in the middle of the day when the lines are the worst. And that's the opportunity where you take the nap, or you hit the air-conditioned restaurant for the nice leisurely late lunch. That's a great way to do it. Hit one of the water parks or back to the hotel, to the pool, whatever you want to do. Or even just kind of some of the high-capacity air-conditioned theater shows that people don't go to, like American Adventure or Country Bear Jamboree, that never really have a wait. Do all that stuff in the middle of the afternoon, because prime time is when that park opens. And you want to take advantage of that and get as much done as you can when the lines are short.
I wish there was a website people could go to. If somebody created a website where like all this knowledge was bottled up.
Wow. Now that you mention it. Just go to themeparkinsider.com and click on our visitors guides links. We've got visitors guides to over 30 major theme parks around the world, including Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando, Disneyland, Universal Hollywood. We've also got parks around the world as well. And in fact, a big new park that we're going to be covering in Abu Dhabi. SeaWorld is expanding overseas. This is the first of their new kind of generation of theme parks. It's almost all indoors. No orcas, no whales, moving away from that. This is really more about kind of an educational experience, along with some roller coasters and kids rides as well. And then just some really fabulous multimedia entertainment that they're putting out there. So we're going to have a lot of coverage for people to look and see what kind of the next generation of a SeaWorld park might look like from the folks who brought us the award-winning Warner Brothers World Abu Dhabi and Ferrari World Abu Dhabi, which, by the way, has that world's fastest roller coaster that Cedar Point doesn't have anymore.
I was going to ask, did you get that video? You got that video personally?
Of the Formula Rossa?
Of the Formula Rossa, yeah.
Yeah. That's my ride on that baby.
That was holy cow.
Absolutely love. World's fastest roller coaster. It just literally face melting. They make you wear goggles because this one does launch out of the park outside. And, it's Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. This is, there's there's a bit of sand out there. I mean, so they don't want sand blowing into your eye at 140 miles an hour. So they make you wear goggles on it. And it's absolutely wonderful. Like I said, they just signed up Jason Momoa as their celebrity spokesperson for the park. And there's a great video of Momoa on the roller coaster now, too. He's just like, going to be brave and everything. And then he just starts screaming like a little child. And then they show the little child next to him who's like, dude,
laughing,
man up. Come on. What's the thing? So they know how to promote fabulous over there. So they're doing well.
God, Robert, I wish you had a fun job. If only you had a fun job. Yes.
It's such a drain.
We will link to Theme Park Insider. And obviously tomorrow, Kevin Bailey with our 201 newsletter is going to have some fun because we do deep dives into all the topics we talk about here. So Kevin is licking his chops to dive even more into this. Robert, great seeing you again. Have a roller coaster summer, my friend.
It is always great to kick off the summer this way, and I hope we all have a really great one. So thanks for having me, and have a great time to everyone out there.